Many years ago, I came across a few lines in a book that I connected with. They were, "It's easy to judge, but you never know another person's heart, what gives them strength and what breaks them down." I have learned to listen more and speak less. The result has been eye-opening conversations and inspirational moments that I have shared with you right here. Hi, welcome to Crystal One-on-One. I am Crystal and we're on location at Le Chateau, Brasserie Belge. That's at Quality Hill Boutique Mall. And today I'm speaking to someone with blue hair, which I love. First we see the hair,
yeah,
and then we have the conversation, right? Well, she's well known as Mo Roots. That's Maureen Rutabingwa. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you. I like your purple too.
Oh, thank you very much. Finally, we sit down.
Finally.
We've been talking about this, but then you've been away, and I think you said work is why you moved away.
Work is why I went away. Yeah.
Okay. We didn't know this. We just know she left us. They're like, where did Maurice go?
Yeah, she just disappeared for a while. I was relocated to London. I was working at Uganda Breweries, and then I moved to Diageo, which is their headquarters.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm there right now, for now.
Before you left, were you still, your title was brand manager, or had that changed?
I was
Of
brand
Bell,
manager
was it?
of Bell, and then I was brand manager for premium beer, which was Tusker Malt, Guinness, Tusker Light. And that was the last thing that I did before I moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been in London?
So I've been there for 2 years now. I left July 1st of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've just done about 2 years.
Okay, but you've been here for a while preparing for your concert.
Yes, I managed to get away for 2 months and take a little bit of break. It was a mix of annual leave and just like flexibility to be able to work here.
Okay, because 2 months is quite a chunk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
And we're thankful. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm here preparing for the concert. I had to come, do rehearsals and focus on the music and get the word out there. So like I felt like I planned it in such a way that I could get all of the time that I had at this point, for this moment.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So when you're back in London, I mean, do you play with a band? Do you sing with a band?
So
how does that work?
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
I've done like a few solo performances. There's a couple of venues in like Soho and in Camden that I've done over the last 2 years. But I've spent most of the time writing and creating and producing. So I have like little studio in my flat. So I've done like a lot of that. Less so on the performing side, which I've really missed.
I can imagine, because I've seen you on stage, you come alive.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So it's something that I really miss doing. But in that time, I've been doing like a lot more of the creative part of it.
So you've been putting together this album?
This album, another album, and another album.
Oh,
like
you've been busy.
I've stacked it.
Hey. Okay, and this album is very different though also.
Yeah. First of all, it's my first one, which is, people are surprised.
What?
Yes.
What?
I don't have an album. I've known your music for years.
What do you mean?
So I've just had like singles and a song here and a song there.
I thought this was like your second or third album.
No, this is the first actual one. So I'm really excited because I also feel like I've really tapped into who I am as an artist.
Okay.
And I feel like this album is me, like is my sound. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like how I imagine myself sounding.
Okay.
And it's like the perfect embodiment of who I am as an artist.
Okay.
Which is exciting, but scary too, but exciting.
Okay, because for the longest time you were known as like, a jazz musician and then more soulful.
Yeah.
But this one has,
It's got everything. I feel like one of the things that I'm really...
Should I say this album?
This
one.
This album. Yeah.
Yes.
It's exciting because one, as you said, like it was like, hey, that's the chick who plays the sax, or she's super jazzy, or she's into her whole neo soul thing. But for this, it was just like it's not confined or restricted to any genre. So there's a lot of many things on there. It's like there's some rock in there, there's some funk in there, there's like electronic, it's soulful, it's a bit of hip hop, like it's all these wonderful things that I think I am, and that have contributed to like all of my musical influences. Yeah, so it's not confined, it's not limited. It's like a journey of very many beautiful things. Yeah, can you tell I'm excited?
I know, but I also know there's some layers behind it.
Yeah, and that's true. It's also very deep. I feel like it's like a reflection of this phase of my life at the moment. So transition, growing, like stepping into the wonders of adulthood and womanhood. Yeah, so there's lots of like nice themes in there.
Okay, we're excited.
Yeah, I think you like it.
Okay, well, your journey with music, if I remember correctly, goes all the way back to like when you were in P7?
Yeah, P1 actually.
P1?
Yeah, I started playing piano like in P1
So who in your family
when I started school.
is musical?
I like this question. They like this question.
Oh, there's no one. You're like, I'm the unicorn! Like, hey!
No, so this is the thing. It's funny and we laugh about it because everyone claims, like everyone is like, yeah, we're such a musical family. I'm like, yeah, but none of y'all play any instruments. You just sing really loud in church on Sunday. Like, what's? This is the claim. So I like this question. No, so very musical, love music. They're all very big music appreciators.
Okay, but no one else plays any instrument.
But no, in terms of like instruments, I am kind of like the only one who kind of stuck with it. And at some point, we all dibbled and dabbled. Like I remember my sister picked up the clarinet and she played the clarinet for a bit. My brother, I think, played the drums. My other sister played the violin. And I started with piano, and then I'm the only one who just kind of stuck with it.
Okay.
Well,
They played. You made it sound like they didn't even touch. They're just like,
it's very relative.
Well, I guess coming from where you are, you're like, no, you all can't touch me.
That's why I really like that question. Yeah.
So P1, you said the piano.
Yeah.
What school was that? Where were you?
I was in Kenya. Was in a school called
Were you born there?
Hillcrest. Yes.
Okay.
I was. So I started off literally P1 music lessons. I remember I had a piano teacher called Miss Karuga. Miss Karuga. So there's a like syllabus, a curriculum for classical music.
Okay.
Called ABRSM. And so you go through different grades, and it's just like going to like normal school, how you go like P1 to P8. So you have grade 1 to grade 8, and then when you get to grade 8, that's about like diploma graduate level. So then after you do grade 8, then you can do a diploma, which is the equivalent of like a degree in like piano performance.
Yes.
So I studied classical piano. I finished all the grades, got to grade 8.
Okay.
And then I started preparing for a diploma in piano.
And
then that coincided, because like it really does work like normal education. It coincided with the time that I was actually going to get a degree.
Okay.
So it took like about 10, 12 years to do. And then at that point, I couldn't do both, because it's like the equivalent of studying for 2 degrees at once.
Is that intense?
Yeah, it is. So you have to put together like a whole like 1 hour piano concerto recital of your own, and just the amount of practice that takes, like you need to practice for like hours a day for months on end.
Okay.
And so at that point I was like, but I'm not even trying to be a classical pianist, so I don't really need to do this at this point. And I think like I can play pretty well at this point too. Yeah, so at that point I was like, let me take what I have. And then I just started writing my own music and creating my own music and kind of experimenting with like my own sound of what my point of view on classical piano and classical music is. And so that's where like that journey ended.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had enough to take me this far. So I was like, I really wasn't trying to be like a classical pianist at the time, which is probably the only reason why I think anybody.
Well, to
does
make
a
it that
degree.
far, I imagine you must have had a lot of support, though.
Yeah, so support, so such a big support system.
Yes.
My family are awesome. They just encourage me to pursue anything and everything that I have an idea or itching to do, which is like many things. It's like,
I know there's an artist side of you as
yeah,
well.
yeah. So it's like, oh, you want to try that? Okay, cool. Go
Let's
for
see
it.
what happens.
Go for it.
You mentioned your siblings. How many?
Yeah, 3 siblings.
3 siblings.
Very big extended family though. Yeah, so they are always in my corner and ever supporting all of my madness.
Are you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Ah, well, that helps a bit.
Yeah, it does.
They're like, we got all the tough love from the parents.
Yeah.
Now you can kind of do
Yeah,
your thing.
they really laid the path for for me to come and for me to just trample around, you know, with no fear of consequence for anything, which I really appreciate.
But that's a big statement. For real? No fear of consequence?
No, because it's like, one, I think they're always guiding, like there's so much guidance there because everyone has pretty much been through everything. They're all older than me. They kind of always saw things before I did. And so it's like just having that confidence to say, okay, I'm about to do something and I'm not sure. Probably one of them has an answer or has some guidance. So it just allowed me to be like, yeah, I can be free to try, and they're there. Like they're, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're tight.
So, I don't know. Am I to believe that they were quite wild? Drinks tea.
Sips tea.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think so. I would say. But then, aren't we all?
Of course. I'm just,
Yeah,
I know you need to go back and not be shut down. What did you say? So I'll let that slide.
Yeah, there's a little bit of crazy in all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So grade 8, you were still in Kenya.
No, so I did my primary school in Kenya,
Yeah.
and then I did all of my secondary school here in Uganda.
Okay. Did you all move back as a
at Rainbow.
family?
Yes, we did. So at that time, my dad was working at the UN in Kenya, and then his mission ended, and then we relocated here.
Okay.
So we all moved. That was in 2002, and then I did my secondary school here at Rainbow.
All right.
So I continued with that whole. I think by that time I had reached grade 5, music-wise, and then I went to Kampala Music School because they do the same system, and yeah, so I just kind of picked up from where I left off, and then I continued going through all the grades until grade 8.
Okay, so you talked about the piano, but we all know you play the saxophone as well.
Yeah.
What other instruments do you play?
Officially, none others.
What do you dabble with?
Honestly, I can dabble with anything.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like, give me a few hours, and I think I could play just about any instrument, apart from the trumpet.
I was about to ask about the trumpet.
No,
because
that's the only one.
The control you need.
That takes so much out of you. It makes me dizzy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've tried it.
I have. I've produced sound. Yeah. I can produce sound, but I think it's probably one of the more complex ones, just like horn instruments in general. But everything else, I think with like a little practice,
Okay.
I could play.
You could.
I play like
Have you tried the drums
like
as
two
well?
rhythms on the drums, steady ones, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Other people would
I am not
disagree.
musical, so I'm like, wow. I'm like, doom. I played. Yay.
Yeah, actual rhythms. And like a few chords on the guitar. But as I said, those are unofficial. Because if you ask like any drummer, they'd be like, no, she can't play.
Okay.
Or any guitarist will be like, nah, she doesn't play the guitar. But in my heart,
You know you can play. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. So you went to Rainbow here, and then university.
And then I went to the UK for university.
Okay.
I was at the University of East Anglia, which is in east of England.
Okay.
It was in a city called Norwich. And I studied business management with a major in marketing.
Oh.
And so that was my degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you ended up working in exactly that field.
Yes.
Okay.
It was always the plan.
It was. So are you saying
Yeah.
that music was always like the hobby on the side?
It's so
or-
interesting because I actually contemplated doing an undergrad in music. I was thinking music management. I was thinking something to do with just like the creative industry, production. But I made a very conscious decision to not limit
Box
myself
yourself
at
in?
that point. And I thought, because of the skills that I do have in music, I felt like if I get something that's like wider, and like a business management or something that can allow me to work in other fields somehow, and I didn't know how at that moment, but I'm like, somehow the two will meet. Like I can merge the two. Yeah, and I don't need to.
Because you can always hold on to your music anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And also just thinking about like the economy, the job market, when you come back, if your plan is to come back and work here, and just kind of having like a more realistic lens of like, what will I do with a degree in theater production or something very specific.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me just keep it a little bit wide. And also I was really into, and I am into like marketing and advertising, so it just made sense that I could keep it broad.
Okay. Was this a discussion you had with your parents or? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
long discussion over a long amount of time. But ultimately, they left the decision up to me. They were like, you're great if you play keys and if you do something in music. Like, yeah, we're sure you'll be fine. And if you do that too, I think you'll be fine. So just choose.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I decided to do.
All right.
Yeah.
So did you work after your degree, or you
I
finished and you came back?
I worked for like like 3 months.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I worked in London for about 3 months. I
And?
did some volunteer work. I was doing like social media and marketing for some leadership academy kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to work here. I
Okay.
don't want to be here. And I always kind of knew that I was coming back after my degree. Like I really knew.
Really?
Yeah.
So even with the move, you're kind of like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very focused. I'm like, I'm going to study, and then after I study, I'm coming back home.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very clear that I wanted to work here. So it didn't take me long. I did it and I tried it. Everyone was like, oh, you can get they extend your visa after you graduate, like you can work, you can be here. I was like, okay, let me try it out. So I did that for like 3 months after graduation. And then in December, I was like, nah, I'm done.
This is not working.
This is not for me. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I moved back to UG. And then after a couple of weeks, I had put out some feelers to work in like an ad agency, and that's kind of like what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
I got a job at Mad Advertising. And so that was my first job.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing client service at the time. And it was awesome. Yeah. It was such being around creative people is such a nice thing. I really enjoy it.
Okay.
It makes me very happy. So like I would spend a lot of my time just like in the room with all the graphic designers as they're doing things, because like my role was more like liaising with the clients, receiving the briefs, writing the briefs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I spent a lot of time in the editing suite with like all these designers and just like learning and watching and seeing what they're doing and seeing how they think and how ideas come to life. And I'm like, man, this is so nice.
I'd like to do this.
Yeah. Well, no, not
Not really.
not that far.
I'm gonna watch the process. Okay.
So I learned a lot about design and thought and aesthetic and colors and text and font and how all these things, contribute to how we react to things that we don't think we're reacting to. Yet there's been like a lot of purposeful thought in advertising and things like that.
A lot of people don't know that.
They just think, oh yeah, there's a message, but they don't really know, why I'm taking it in or why it has caught my attention or, So it was really nice to get into that and be a part of that process. But then also what it showed me was that I didn't want to be on that side of receiving the briefs. I wanted to be on the side of writing the briefs and creating, saying we have a problem, this is how I think we should solve it. And it felt, so as I loved that experience because it taught me a lot, but then it also like reinforced what I don't want to do.
Okay.
Which I think is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was at MAD for like 2 years.
It's very important. A lot of people really focus on what they do want to do, and they don't think about the other side of it.
Yeah. Because also the process of elimination is important. And if you're shown things like, no, that's not going to work, you're like, okay, that
And
narrows
I don't
it down.
want to do that.
Yeah.
Because so many people end up doing things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
But they've never taken the time to actually think about it and say, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And the more things you're clear that you don't want to do, I think even that clarity is important because it narrows down your path and it moves clutter away.
Yeah. That's
Thanks.
powerful. That's something to take away. That's something to take away. So you're with MAD for 2 years.
I was with MAD for 2 years. And then I moved to the brewery, to Uganda Breweries. Initially, it was a brand manager role. And I was so excited. I was really excited. I had really arrived. I was like, hey. Crystal, I was so excited.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Did you get the big company car?
Well, no. No.
Not yet?
No, I did not.
Oh, what?
We're still waiting on that one. No, I didn't. But I was just so excited. I was really, really excited because
because it's something you had willed into existence.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I used to go for a lot of shows, musical shows. It's very strange. When I was in high school, I went for a Quella show that was sponsored by Tusker Malt. And I was like, this is so cool. And I remember watching Quella and I'm like, I'd really, really love to be part of that team.
Okay.
And then I was like, I didn't see Tusker Malt doing so many cool things. I'd love to manage a brand like Tusker Malt one day. Literally, I remember that concert. I was like, So when I moved to the brewery, I was so excited. I was so excited. And initially it was to be a brand manager, but in the first couple of weeks, there were like some changes that were happening at EABL, which is the group company in Kenya, and they were decentralizing a lot of the departments.
Okay.
And innovation was one of them. So innovation had been centralized, and it was like the team in Kenya would do the innovations, and then everybody just takes whatever they have created.
Okay.
So that had started to be decentralized, and at that time they were like, okay, so Uganda, you need to be in charge of your own innovations. But at that time, obviously there was nobody in that role, like that role didn't exist. and I was new and idle at that point, and they hadn't yet sort of like given me exactly what I was going to be doing. So the marketing director at that point